Alright guys, if you're looking for a Shogun 3 Total War built by a passionate community combining over a decade of modding into one enormous overhaul, that is exactly what Ultimate Expanded Field Command feels like. In this video, I'll be showing you how this is much more than just a mod. This is peak Shogun 2, dozens of systems that have been rebuilt, hundreds of new units and factions introduced, and the entire rhythm of the campaign transformed. It's challenging, massive, and completely changes how you play the game in the best possible way. And by the end, I guarantee you're going to want to check out this mod for yourself. Now, before we dive straight in, if you don't own Total War Shogun 2 and you want to play this mod, you can pick up the game and its DLCs with a massive discount on Instant Gaming, a reputable game key reseller that I've been using for a little while now. They have a great roster of games on sale like Elder Scrolls Oblivion Remastered, Crusader Kings 3 Chapter 4, or even the entire Total War catalog, all with big discounts. So if you're thinking about buying a new game, especially Shogun 2, to check out the mod here, make sure to click the link below to get your games for cheap, as you should, and support the channel at the same time. Now let's get into the video. Ultimate Expanded Field Command essentially is a combination mainly of the Ultimate Expanded map by UAnime 5. The campaign spans a Japan of unprecedented scale and granularity with Field Command Shogun 2, which is essentially a complete overhaul of how you recruit units, how the campaign works from a military perspective, but also on the battle side of things, with some great mechanical changes to bring battles to life. Over 140 factions exist across this map. Not all are playable, of course, but their presence fundamentally transforms the game's pacing, tension, and diplomacy. Even in the late game here, the density of potential rivals and allies creates a fantastic dynamic web of opportunity and risk. At the core of the campaign is a central change that defines the UEFC experience here, the introduction of 12 turns per year, which I quite like. This recalibration of the calendar does more than simply add time. It alters how players experience war, peace, economy, and diplomacy. The campaign becomes less about turn-based efficiency and more about long-term strategic thinking. Planning a spring invasion, you gotta make sure you've accounted for winter attrition, rice harvest cycles, and troop morale. Want to secure a long-term trade deal? Your ally needs years, not just a handful of turns to see your value. Technology trees, trade routes, infrastructure, and armies all operate within this extended timescale. And while Lenny's optional mod here, Battletech 1 turn per year technology, is recommended for those who want to preserve UEFC's realism while still reaching higher tier options at a slightly faster pace, I'm not a massive fan of it. I like a kind of a longer term technology acquiring within a campaign playthrough, but you know, it's totally up to you, of course. It's a good option to have. Another big change here is Realm Divide, probably the most infamous feature of the base game. Because of how massive the campaign is, the mod simply doesn't really need it. With over 100 factions, countless conflicting interests, and an AI already programmed for aggression, the mid to late game is rich with natural betrayals and shifting power blocks. Your success will provoke enemies, your failure will invite vultures. The result is a campaign arc that develops organically without the need for an artificial trigger. Realm Divide would sort of ruin this, so I quite like that they've removed it altogether. Maybe a more subtle version could be introduced later on. The best part for me here, though, the flagship feature of this mod is the Portugal faction. Playable and fully integrated, this Portuguese offer is a completely different campaign experience to what you're used to. They bring with them armored knights, pikemen, gunners, and a suite of period-accurate artillery. Their naval units include Red Seal ships with 10 cannons, saber-wielding crews, and the potential to capture galleons armed with 24 cannons, if, that is, the player controls both a Dutch VOC port and a pirate fortress. So there's tons of layered mechanical changes when it comes to tech advancement and unit access that I love here with this faction as well. Religious gameplay is also given some more strategic weight here. Portugal can deploy up to 25 missionaries through church buildings, and when paired with the ultimate Jesuit submod, these churches generate koku, creating an economic loop based on religious expansion and conversion. It adds another layered trade-off here. Do you expand militarily, diplomatically, or now religiously? The campaign map is filled with new types of buildings as well, most notably Ashina's expanded economic and recruitment structures, trade buildings, buildings now provide diversified imported goods, encouraging players to think regionally. Castle chains have been reworked to include the recruitment of Teppo units across all factions, reflecting the historical importance of gunpowder in siege warfare. Garrison buildings now allow for layered regional defense as well, and the food system has been balanced to accommodate a larger Japan with more provinces and settlements. There's also small but critical touches here that refine the experience further. AI factions value non-warhorse trade goods more appropriately, leading to better diplomacy and more logical trade networks. Long Yari Kumi are available to all factions, not just Oda, helping to balance early game unit variety. General skills, agents, and retainers from Force Striders mod packs add RPG-like layers to your characters. And honestly, kind of overall, the campaign gives me a feeling that's a bit closer to something like Three Kingdoms. There's lots of different kinds of mechanics introduced and rebalanced here that are a lot more connected than before, and it gives you a lot more choice and variety and interesting situations that you're not normally prepared for and used to. Now, over on the battle side of things, UEFC's battle mechanics are a direct evolution, like I said, of Field Command Sengoku. I've covered this before. It's an overhaul designed to reflect the tactical doctrines and battlefield realities of real 16th century Japan. With additional balancing and improvements by Lenny, the battle system in UEFC demands a level of attention and awareness that goes far beyond the base game. I would say the most important and noticeable change is the overhaul of unit roles and compositions. Sword-only cavalry has been removed. In its place are hybrid cavalry units, bow and sword cavalry, capable of ranged skirmishing before engaging in melee. This change aligns better with historical doctrine, where cavalry were often equipped with multiple tasks rather than specialized changes. Samurai units have also been reimagined rather than treating archery and melee warfare as entirely separate functions in the base game. UEFC introduces Kachi Samurai, a versatile hybrid troop. These are archers with limited ammunition who then engage in melee, often used by the AI to harass enemy lines before forming the second wave of an assault. Teppo units now play a more central role in both siege and open field warfare, with all factions able to recruit them from castles. Gunpowder is no longer a niche asset. Castle towers themselves have been reworked to fire matchlocks, increasing the intensity and deadliness of sieges. Holding a castle feels like a proper last stand, not a bottleneck exploit. Probably my favorite change, and I think this is primarily from Field Command Sengoku, is that artillery has been expanded dramatically. Japanese factions can import European guns via Dutch trading ports, while the Portuguese field period authentic cannons. Artillery accuracy, reload speed, damage values have been rebalanced to feel impactful without being too overpowered. Each individual shot matters. Each artillery piece needs to be placed in the correct position for effectiveness, and there is no set it and forget it approach either. And then we also have naval combat, which receives some of its most radical improvements in this mod as well. Lenny's More Fun Boats mod redefines ship behavior, movements, and engagements. Ships no longer drift about like sluggish rectangles. Archers and gunners now sprint to their stations. Arrows are let loose with urgency. Sailing ships adhere to historically accurate wind dynamics. Tacking angles, momentum maintenance, and sail reefing all influence maneuvering. The result is naval battles reward a lot more strategy here. Positioning, angles, wind suddenly matter. Red Seal ships charge with gusto, delivering devastating close-range cannon fire. AI unpredictability becomes a lot more of a tactical factor here, sometimes foolish, sometimes brilliant. Combined with new ships like Teppo-armed Sengoku Bune and 24-cannon captured galleons, sea power becomes essential. And finally, auto-resolve has been repaired and rebalanced a bit better as well. Thanks to Lenny's Sengoku auto-resolve fix, battles now resolve based on realistic factors like unit composition and quality, and this reduces the frustration of having to manually fight low-risk encounters to minimize essentially casualties and allows the player to trust the system. Together, all of these changes produce engagements that feel more fluid, more brutal, more believable. Battles are longer, more tactical, and packed with difficult choices and moments as well. Losing units in a battle actually hurts, victory does feel earned, and battles are simply amazing here in this mod. Overall, none of this really could have existed without the efforts of dozens and dozens of contributors. UEFC is the product of thousands of hours of modding, play testing, compatibility fixes, passionate care. Community support also played a critical role here, modders sharing assets and knowledge across forums and discords, tons of player testing and feedback that has refined and polished the overall experience. And there are still issues, of course, here and there. Every mod is a work in progress after all, but what is here is seriously impressive and has rekindled a love of the game for me. Finally, just to be clear, to run Ultimate Expanded Field Command Sengoku, you will need the Fall of the Samurai DLC. You'll also need the correct load order following the UEFC collection exactly, and to stick with Lenny's mods and the unofficial patch 1.7 for full support. Multiplayer isn't currently stable, so I wouldn't try that just yet, but the single player experience is complete and polished, and probably the new best overhaul for me for the game. This mod is a reminder that Total War, even a decade after release, can still evolve. And for players willing to dive in, it offers a Sengoku experience that is deeper, richer, and more satisfying than any official release ever could. For me, this is probably the closest thing we have to a Divide Et Impera for Shogun 2. Either way, that's it for today, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video and found it informative. If you did, give it a like, drop any thoughts or questions in the comments section below, and let me know what you think about this amazing mod for the game. Subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this, and thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.